starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Katie, and I'm the Senior Account Manager here at Boopsie. Today, we'll be exploring two of our latest features in the app, which are ratings and reviews and the top 20 reading list. So we're super excited about these features and how they can help improve your patrons' user experience within the app. So throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to type them into the chat box, and I'll answer them at the end of the presentation. Also, if you don't think about a question while you're in the webinar itself, feel free to send me an email, and I'm also more than happy to answer any questions you have after the webinar as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So in this webinar, what I'm going to do is a review of Q2. Then we'll move over to a review of our top 20 reading list and our ratings and reviews features. Then I'll have a wrap up where I'll fill you in on our upcoming conferences, as well as our upcoming customer webinar topics as well. And in the spirit of my webinars, this is going to be really quick. I put it for 45 minutes, but chances are it'll probably be closer to 10 or 15, just to make sure that you can keep up with all your tasks that you have going on at the library as well. So here is our Q2 in review. There's also some Q3 updates as well, but I feel like Q2 in review has a much better ring to it than Q2 and Q3 in review. So we have reached some major milestones here. In Q2, the libraries, our library apps have reached over 3 million mobile app downloads, and there are about 400,000 unique app users per month. We also launched into law libraries, including the addition of the Law Society of Upper Canada and Best in Krieger as well, which is a law firm. So we've also signed the Defense Language Institute's Foreign Language Center, which launches us into the military library industry as well. And we also launched the TrackPack app, which is the app that serves the largest consortium in Alberta, which has over 170 member libraries. And of course, we also launched our ratings and reviews on the top 20 reading list, which is kind of where this webinar comes into play. So our first things first, our top 20 reading list, which technically it's a reading list, not list, but bear with me. So we also will refer to it as the Popular This Week channel. It's basically because on the actual image itself, it says Popular This Week. So either way, if you refer to it one way or the other, I'll understand what you're talking about. Our top 20 channel aggregates the most searched for and checked out titles from across the entire Boopsie family. So it's not just, your library or like our, the books that we decided are like the coolest that have recently come out. It's really just looking at what your patrons are checking out and, and reviewing and adding that as an option as their top 20. And so this is kind of like that ground truth. This isn't some publisher list that, they've decided these are going to be the most important reading, titles coming through. This is actually, user information. Another great use for the top 20 reading list is it also helps kind of discover new book titles. I generally stick with one genre of books, and that's just kind of like something that I'm used to. I've always read, romance and science fiction, but kind of like once I opened up the Popular This Week channel, I found all these really cool sounding, books to read. So needless to say, my reading list is extremely long at this time. All right, and our next section is the ratings and reviews, and these are for, these are like with the top 20, the ratings and reviews shows you the results from libraries across the Boopsie platform. So, it'll have, you can find out, not only what your local library, users are saying about these titles, but it's also, someone in Charlotte-Mecklenburg posting a review or somebody in Kalamazoo. So it's definitely all over the place. And it's fabulous because you can either use, an alias, so, like when you add a review for Amazon or Yelp, or you can do it anonymously so that you can, a lot of patrons will feel more comfortable adding an honest review if they can do it anonymously. They don't have to worry about, like, if I said, oh, like this book was really poor, like they don't want somebody to come after them for saying that, even though it's their honest, opinion. There's also, a great feature so that, if you do post, want to add a spoiler to this, you can, say this is a spoiler, and then that way, anybody that's going through to review the feature or review the book in the future, they'll be able to, look over that. They don't have to actually, accidentally spoil your review. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to our demo, which is kind of at this point. Let me get the Reflector app going. Where did it go? All right, hold on one second. Looks like it turned itself off. All right, there we go. All right, so here is the Sunnyvale Public Library app. And so this is, as you can see, there's that Popular This Week channel up at the top, which is what I mentioned before. That is our top 20 reading list feature. And then for the ratings and reviews, which we'll go over first, you're going to go into a search. All right. And so in your search, I am a huge Hobbit fan. So we're going to go ahead and search for They're Back Again, which is the actual title of The Hobbit, which I'm sure you all knew this. Alright, so here is, the title. So normally you could go here and check out, place this on hold, see, the item details and stuff. But if you were up here again, up in this green little bar, it says reviews. So go ahead and click on it. And so here this is what it looks like, once there's actually a review that's been placed on a title. So here, The Michigan Girl, which I'm not going to lie was totally me, because I love the book. So I gave it 5-star rating. I used an alias, so Michigan_girl. I am from Michigan originally. And so I added my nice little review. And you're going through, in order to add a review, just click on write a review. You'll have to log in with your information. Alright, so once we've been logged in, it says that I already wrote a review. So I guess I can't actually log in, write a new one on it, because I guess that would be kind of gaming the system. But at that point, you would be able to select, if you want to remain anonymous or if you wanted to add, your username. And then you would add in your review. Let me see if I can pull up another one. Oops. My apologies. So there is another title that we can do is, I'm totally blanking about it. Let's go with, I think, Polar Bears. Polar Bear, what do you hear? See if we can do it on this one. Alright, so here is a title, so we'll go ahead and click reviews. We'll write a review. Alright, and here, it's just as you can see, you can choose the different level of stars by just tapping on the stars themselves. Put a 5-star, 4-star, 1-star, whichever you prefer. You can add a little bit about the book. And then if there is a spoiler, like I mentioned, you can add this little spoiler box so that, in the future you can have it so that no one else can see those reviews. Or you can click on the review to actually see what the spoiler is. And then you can choose here. You can either use your pen name or use anonymous. I'm not going to post a review because it's been a really long time since I read Polar Bear, what do you hear? So we'll just go ahead and leave that alone for right now. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the main menu so we can go over the top 20 reading list here. So if you click on it, it launches into this new view of the titles, which is hopefully something that will be coming soon as well for the apps. And it has the most recently or most searched for and checked out titles available in this list. So obviously it's going to be a lot of really popular titles. So Go Set a Watchman, The Martian, Luckiest Girl Alive. So we can go ahead and we'll select a title. And then when you're here, again, you can go ahead and you'll place request a hold on something. It's just like kind of gives you another way to look and find other titles. Like I mentioned before, I find a lot of really cool titles going through this list, and it'll be based off of, like, if your library doesn't have, say, for instance, the Nightingale, it'll go ahead and it'll just skip that entry in the top 20 list. So it won't have that, it won't have like, oh, click on this and then there's no title available. So that's kind of a quick review of these popular this week titles. I'm going to go ahead and close this out and go back to our presentation. All right, so now we're on our conferences. So we actually have 5 conferences lined up for early to mid-October. So there's the Ohio Library Council Convention and Expo, which is hosted in Cincinnati, which Ray and Michelle, who are 2 of our sales team members, and myself will actually be attending. So if you're in the Ohio area, feel free to stop by and visit us at the booth. The Mississippi Library Association Conference, which is going to be hosted in Natchez, Mississippi, will be attended by Megan. She's going to be giving a presentation to the entire conference, which she's super thrilled about, which, I mean, more power to her. The thought of presenting is slightly horrifying to me. So she'll be at that conference. The Virginia Library Association Conference is going to be hosted in Richmond, Virginia. I'll be attending that, as well as Santiago, who is our customer service representative, or one of our customer service representatives. Then there'll also be the Colorado Association of Libraries Conference, which is going to be hosted in Colorado, which Megan will also be attending. So she's going to kind of like quickly leave Natchez to go to Loveland, Colorado. And our final conference of this early October period is going to be the Illinois Library Association Conference in Peoria, Illinois. And that'll be attended by Ray and Michelle, who are some of our sales representatives. So it's a quick little overview. We have a couple of them also coming up after that. So there's also, Internet Librarian, California Library Association Conference, the Charlotte show as well. All right, and let me just go ahead. We'll go and look at our coming soon titles as well, our coming soon webinars. So we have, on October 6th, which is a Tuesday, so we're going to switch it up from the normal schedule a little bit, will be how to create an effective marketing plan for your academic library app. Mainly because I'll be going to Cincinnati on Wednesday, so I want to make sure that we can have this, webinar ahead of time. All right, and then our next one will be hosted on Tuesday, October 20th, which is going to be about our new search filters for the library app. And you can both register for these on our webinar on the customer webinar pages. All right, so this concludes my presentation. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to email us at sales@boopsie.com. You can also sign up for upcoming webinars at www.boopsie.com/customer-webinars. I'm going to quickly take a look and see if we have any questions. I did have one that popped in. All right, so you may have said this, but what causes a book to come up in the popular list? The fact that it's been checked out at the members' libraries, or that it's been searched and selected by a lot of people using the apps. It is going to be based off of the fact that it's been searched and selected or checked out by people across the Boopsie community. And so it's going to look at those lists and then compare it to what you have on your holdings to display those 20 titles. If that helps out with your question. If not, feel free to send me a quick email afterwards, and we can definitely have, we can go a little bit more in detail as well. And it is, we also asked another question about how the top 20 is determined, and it is based off of all Boopsie users, not just a specific library, so you can kind of get, an idea of what's going on across the platform. All right, I think that's everybody's questions. Of course, again, if you have any questions in the interim, feel free to send me an email, either at sales@boopsie or katie@boopsie.com. And I will send a recording of this webinar to everybody after the conference, as well as a selection of the slides, so that way you can actually see, what I was going for originally, take a little bit more time to see exactly which section has what information. And that'll be it for today. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I did see, before I send you all off, for inappropriate reviews, we do have a filter in place, so to look for anything inappropriate, and then we will remove these inappropriate comments at that point, or reviews. Of course, if there's anything that pops up that you're like, you know what, this is not appropriate, just let us know. We can always go ahead and take that off as well. All right. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and send you guys all off. Have a great rest of your day.